Welcome everybody to CK Ministry Media. Today we're going to dive in with the book of Nehemiah that is found in the Old Testament. Nehemiah is a young man that leaves his home Israel or Jerusalem and goes to Persia, and he gets employed by a Persian king, and his duty to the king is to be a cupbearer. If nobody knows what is a cupbearer at these times, a cupbearer's duty is to drink the wine and eat the food before the king does. So you will drink of the king's cup and eat of the king's plate of food. Reason being, if the food or the wine is poisoned by somebody within the working throne, the cupbearer will be poisoned first. So Nehemiah has been working for a few years in order to earn the king's trust. And one day he gets visitors from Israel. His family and his friends come to visit him, and they say to him that we have death threats in our land of Jerusalem, and people are coming to kill us. And the armies and the enemies of Israel are trying to attack us. There's no real attack, but just by the word, they are being feared. So Nehemiah cries out to God, and he has this plan to go to the king and ask the king to support him in his decisions. And he goes to the king, and the king asked him, "Why are you sad? Why you have worked for me for so many years, but I've never seen you the way you are right now." And Nehemiah explains the situation to the king, and the king says to Nehemiah, "How may I help you? How do you want me to help you?" Imagine to have favor in your life. God will ask you to risk your life for others to gain favor towards them. That's your first revelation. Number two, Nehemiah goes back to Jerusalem, and the king gives him favor. He gives him letters. He gives him everything that he needs. He writes a letter to Nehemiah. So every city that Nehemiah passes through, every king of his throne has to give Nehemiah the favor that he would give the king, because Nehemiah is now royalty to the king. So Nehemiah goes back to Jerusalem, and the people are crying out to Nehemiah, and they're crying out to God, and they're saying, "We don't know what to do. We have threats, and we have rumors of war, and we don't even have a wall built around us. The wall that was built has been broken down because we don't know what to do anymore now that we are vulnerable without this wall. So please, we need help." So Nehemiah get hold of the men, and he forms a group of young men, and they begin to build the wall with the favor that he has. He gets the equipment and the material from other cities, and they began building the wall. So the wall is being built, and the people of Israel are seeing hope and seeing peace. And now there are men coming after Nehemiah. They are governmental men that don't know who Nehemiah is, but they hate Nehemiah. It's really strange that people that don't know you in your life, that don't know your giftings, know your talents, know your passions, know your professions, but they hate you just because they hate you, just because they want to. The reason why they don't like you is because they see something greater within you that you do not see into yourself. So they come after Nehemiah and the poor men that is working and helping Nehemiah. These men are working day and night building the wall. Now on top of this, they have enemies coming after them. So Nehemiah instructs these men to hold up their left hands with their swords and their right hand with the blocks of them building. So some of you out there are facing these battles every day in your life. You feel like you need to have a sword in your hand while you're protecting your family, because the sword has to represent the presence of God in your life, has to represent your situations as well. And then the brick in your hand represents the building of the foundation of your home, of your family, of your children. Well, here is a word from God. In order to build a foundation for your life, you need to have his presence in one hand. You cannot just do one. You cannot say to others that I'll put God aside, and I'll put my Christianity, my faith aside for now, and I'll build my life first, then maybe I'll have a closer walk with God. You cannot do that. You need to have the sword in one hand that represents the Holy Spirit, the Lord of Lords and the God of Gods, and you need to have your foundation in the other hand. This is how you will succeed in your life. But the threats that were supposed to come to Nehemiah has failed. The threats has failed, and no enemies came towards them. So the wall has been built, and it takes them 52 days to be built. And now Nehemiah has to realize the hard truth that all of you has to realize, that these people wanted protection from a wall, but they did not need a wall. All they needed was God. Now, after Nehemiah and the men of the city built the wall, they soon realized that it's not the wall that can protect us. And it's not the threats of the outside that's breaking us. It's the people from the inside. How many times in your life have you thought, if I could just earn enough, if I could just have a better house or a better car, a better job, that everything will be okay. Everything is going to be okay. That God is going to change my life if I could just earn a little bit more money, if I could just provide more for my kids, if I could just do this. The reason why you held back in your life right now is because that God knows the enemy is not from the outside, the enemy is from within. And this is why you don't have that financial breakthrough yet. And God knows that the moment He gives you that wall, that protection, you will not long for Him and you will not call for Him no more.